If you have ever loved someone so fiercely that you would abandon your entire future for them, then you understand the depth of my initial sacrifice. But if you have ever been utterly betrayed by that same person, you will understand the cold, paralyzing dread that settled in my heart. My name is Sophia, and my world was my mother, Evelyn. Evelyn didn't just need my help, she needed my life. She was diagnosed with a brutal, aggressive degenerative disease, the kind that demanded constant, full-time care. So, I walked away from the path I had forged, a six-figure salary as a rising partner at a top finance firm, a wedding planned for the following spring, and a life of certain comfort. I sold my apartment, dissolved my engagement, and poured every cent of my savings into her care, believing I was honoring the woman who gave me everything. But in the end, my mother didn't just accept my sacrifice. She stole it. And when I uncovered the truth, the reason behind her strange fear and the secret she was hiding, I realized my mother was not just a victim of disease. She was a master manipulator, trapped by a terrifying past she desperately needed me to forget. Before we dive into the true cost of my devotion and the terrifying family secret that destroyed my life, let me know, which state in the US are you listening to this from right now? Let me see where our most dedicated true crime listeners are located. And if you believe that sometimes the greatest villains are the ones we trust the most, please hit that subscribe button right now and join our community. You will not believe the final twist I found hidden in her will. My journey into financial and emotional ruin began 3 years ago. My mother, Evelyn, was everything to me, my anchor, my confidant. When the doctor delivered the diagnosis, outlining the severe, progressive nature of her neurological condition, it felt like a physical blow. The condition required round-the-clock specialized nursing, physical therapy, and experimental, non-insured medications. The financial burden was astronomical, quickly draining her modest retirement fund. I didn't hesitate. My fiancé, Thomas, argued vehemently, "Sophia, we can hire private nurses. You can't put your career and our life on hold." But Thomas didn't understand. Evelyn was all I had left. I told him, "She needs me, Thomas." Not a stranger. It was a choice between my future and my mother's dignity. I chose my mother. I quit my job, sold everything, and moved into her small, suburban house, ready to dedicate my life to her care. For the next 2 years, I was her nurse, her caretaker, and her rock. I was exhausted, stressed, and financially sinking, but I never once regretted my decision. However, Evelyn's behavior was strangely unsettling. Instead of expressing gratitude, she seemed perpetually terrified. She would pace her room late at night, whispering unintelligibly on the phone, often hanging up abruptly when I entered the room. When I asked her who she was talking to, she would simply reply, "Just old friends, dear. Checking in." But her hands would tremble and her eyes would dart nervously. The first major red flag came when the private physical therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Lena, suddenly quit. She didn't just quit, she packed her bags in the middle of a session and ran. When I called her, she was terse. "I can't talk about it, Sophia, but you need to get out of that house. Your mother is hiding something, and it's dangerous." Dr. Lena never answered my calls again. My financial situation became desperate. My own savings were gone, swallowed by medications and equipment. I told Evelyn we had to consider selling the house, the last major asset we owned. Her reaction was explosive, completely disproportionate to the request. She screamed, "Never. You can never sell this house, Sophia. It is the only thing keeping us safe." This was the first time I suspected her disease wasn't the only thing controlling her. Her fear was far too sharp, far too specific. I began my own, quiet investigation. I started by looking through her financial records, searching for any hidden insurance or a secret benefactor. What I found was a series of small, consistent, and completely unexplained outgoing payments labeled simply as maintenance fee to an offshore holding company. The payments had been going out every month for the last 10 years, and they were massive, equivalent to a second mortgage. The first shocking twist: the illness was a lie. I decided to confront Evelyn with the payments. I walked into her room, holding the bank statements. Mom, who is Emerald Holdings and why are you paying them $5,000 every month? Evelyn, who was supposedly too weak to stand without assistance, looked at the papers and, in a flash of physical strength that defied her diagnosis, snatched the papers and tore them to shreds. She collapsed back onto the bed, sobbing hysterically. "It's a lie, Sophia. The doctors are wrong. The diagnosis is wrong," she cried. Her reaction was too fierce, too physical. The next morning, I called Dr. Chen, the specialist who gave the original diagnosis. I spoke to him honestly about her physical outbursts. Dr. Chen's reply was the first truly terrifying piece of the puzzle. "Sophia, I'm afraid I can't discuss her prognosis with you anymore. I was instructed by your mother's personal lawyer, Mr. Gilder, to release you from your role as her primary medical contact. However, I can tell you this. The physical symptoms you described, the pacing, the shouting, those are not symptoms of her neurological condition. They're symptoms of severe, untreated anxiety and paranoia." The devastating truth hit me like a train. My mother wasn't just sick. She was hiding something so terrifying that she was simulating the symptoms of her disease to keep me close and to keep me from digging too deep. I confronted her again, but this time with cold, calculated resolve. "Mom, you are not as sick as you pretend to be. Who are you hiding from, and what did you give Emerald Holdings?" She finally broke down, the fear overwhelming the manipulation. She revealed the agonizing truth. "It's your father, Sophia. Your real father, Elias Vaughn. My father, the man I was told died in a sudden car accident when I was 5, was alive." Evelyn confessed, "Elias wasn't just a businessman, Sophia. He was the head of a massive, international financial crime syndicate. He laundered billions of dollars, and when the FBI closed in 20 years ago, he faked his death, leaving me with one final, terrifying instruction: keep his legacy safe and maintain the monthly payments to his network until he could return." The house, the old, suburban house that Evelyn refused to sell, was the key. It wasn't a home, it was a strategically chosen safe house. Designed with reinforced walls and secret compartments to hold Elias's vast collection of encrypted financial ledgers and documents, the legacy that would allow him to restart his criminal empire. The payments to Emerald Holdings were for his maintenance network, Sophia. I had to keep paying to ensure they didn't come after you. I used your sacrifice, your life, your money, to make them think I was utterly preoccupied and powerless, so they wouldn't suspect I was keeping the vault safe for him." My blood ran cold. She hadn't just accepted my sacrifice, she had weaponized it. She destroyed my life, not to treat her illness, but to hide a criminal legacy and protect the monster who abandoned me. The shock of this revelation was immediately overshadowed by the terrifying urgency of her next words. "He's coming back, Sophia. The payments stop next month. Elias is coming to retrieve his ledgers. If he finds out I used your savings to pay his network, or if he suspects you know the secret, he will kill us both without a second thought." I finally understood the full, monstrous scale of her betrayal. My love, my career, my savings, it was all leverage in a criminal game I didn't even know I was playing. I knew I had to act. I didn't go to the police. They would have arrested both of us. I decided to use the one thing Elias Vaughn valued more than his freedom, his money. I spent the next 2 weeks frantically searching the house. Using the old blueprints Evelyn had hidden, I found the secret vault hidden in the basement, a small, highly secure room filled with encrypted drives and physical ledgers. This was Elias's legacy. I contacted the very firm I had left, my former partner, Mr. Hayes. I gave him an anonymous tip detailing the exact location of the vault and the nature of the criminal enterprise, demanding one condition: he must ensure that Evelyn and Sophia Vance were granted complete immunity in exchange for the evidence. I was not going to let my mother's foolish choices ruin my life entirely. The final confrontation was a scene straight out of a thriller. Elias Vaughn arrived at the house, not a dying, romantic figure, but a cold, ruthless old man. Evelyn was trembling, begging him not to hurt me. "Elias, the vault is untouched. The ledgers are safe," she pleaded. Elias sneered at her. "And the money, Evelyn? The maintenance fees? You embezzled a huge portion of the fund, didn't you? Your daughter's money paid for your comfortable life. Evelyn looked at me, her eyes filled with a desperate finality. I did it for you, Sophia. To keep you away from this life. No, Mom, I said, stepping forward. You did it for yourself. You trusted him over me. Just as Elias reached for his weapon, the house was swarmed. Not by the police, but by the federal marshals and Mr. Hayes' legal team, armed with a federal warrant based on my anonymous tip. They flooded the house, securing the vault and arresting Elias Vaughn. Elias, the criminal mastermind who faked his own death, was finally caught. I looked at Evelyn, my mother, who had willingly sacrificed my future to protect a past I never deserved. She had saved me from death, but she had destroyed my ability to trust anyone. After the chaos, the lawyers worked out a deal. I received full immunity in exchange for the evidence. Evelyn, due to her involvement in the concealment of the evidence, had to serve a short house arrest. I stood there, surrounded by the remnants of my ruined life. I got my freedom, but I had paid the ultimate price. I had left everything for my mother, only to find that my mother had used me as a pawn in a game I didn't deserve to play. I lost my career, my fiancé, and the only person I thought I could trust. I am now a successful financial consultant, but I live a guarded, single life. I look back on that time not with regret for my sacrifice, but with anger at my mother's betrayal. She saved my life, but she ruined my soul. I ask you, the viewer, did my mother truly save me with her betrayal? Or did she inflict the greatest damage by choosing to trust a criminal over her own daughter? Comment below and let me know what you think of Evelyn's final choices. And if you believe that survival sometimes demands the most ruthless decisions, please like this video and share it with a friend. Thank you for listening to my truth, the truth that cost me everything.